5 after 1, and I would like to continue on with our meeting. And right at the moment, we are at number 10 on our agendas, communications for information. So I'm not sure if there was anything anybody wanted to speak about there, or if our administrator had something he wanted to share, but I will turn the floor over to him to see if there is anything.
The one thing I wanted to identify for council was the Manitoba Bridge grant payments. There is a letter stating that all the recipients that receive the bridge grant in RRM will get an automatic payment of $5,000. And the other is that they are opening it up for new recipients, anyone that wasn't applicable before, if they fall into the applicable criteria now, and if they get accepted, it's a $15,000 grant for those particular ones. So the last time was mostly community centers. This time they have opened it up a little bit differently, so there may be others that may look at it.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Strang.
So, just with what you said, are we giving you're giving the community centers again? Or they're applying?
They are giving the community centers automatic.
Oh, automatically, they don't have to reapply?
No.
Oh, okay. I did have one reach out just when they mentioned it, and I said, yes, apply.
Whoever received once gets it automatically.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Administrator?
Nothing else other than there's some public hearings in our surrounding municipalities that I think you've been made aware of. Nothing of any significant issues on that. And there is an update from the St. Andrews Lock and Dam as they're going out to tender on that project. And we'll also make it available on our website.
Okay, thank you for that. The only one that I kind of caught my attention yesterday when I was going through my agenda was 10.3.3, and that is the public hearing for West St. Paul. There's another subdivision going in there, and I'm not sure how many lots there are. Deepak, might you be able to bring that map up, or even the notice? Like, it was...
Was that the one that's in the picture?
It's huge.
Yeah, it's a pretty big chunk of
Yeah,
This one here, Madam Mayor,
yeah.
this is the piece of land. This is on the just south of Grassmere Road, and
Yeah.
as I recall, this land was slated to be for future development at that time, and I think this is where they also have the, close to this is where they have the previous development that was the school buses.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, is there, the other picture I thought had all the lots on it? This is the public hearing notice, maybe?
It's just the rezoning that's on here.
yeah, I don't think that.
Oh, okay. I saw.
There is another one which, yes, I think what you're referring to, Madam Mayor, is the one that's for south of the perimeter. And that's this one. No, that's
That's
this
the
one,
same
that's the same
one.
one. It's the other one here.
Manitoba Center?
No, that's the same one.
You clicked on the same one again.
Okay, I've got two. I know that I saw one for
No, I think it's the one above where you are.
there's this one.
That one.
This one?
I think so. No? Same one.
It's the 22 to 22 to 21.
Even for us, for the rezoning portion, we normally don't show what the intent is for the future. It's just right now they need to deal with rezoning.
Because that would be in the subdivision.
Right, yeah, yeah. Okay, no worries. I know I saw it somewheres yesterday when I was looking, and I thought, oh man, there's like another 100 and some lots
Maybe
there.
I saw it as chair.
I think there is one coming at the south of the perimeter that they're working on right now that I'm aware of. That's
Yes,
the south of the perimeter in West St. Paul are the lands that were slid, and I think there's 100 and some.
They're doing well.
They are. But you gotta remember, they got on board and they have their water supply. And makes a big difference when
Once you've got
developers are
infrastructure
looking.
too.
Yeah. So go ahead, Scott.
Just 10.4.2, so the library submitted their audited financial statements. They're in draft form. If you remember correctly, I reported that we were going to have a shortfall of about $4,000, but apparently the auditor has made a change. And it looks like there's a surplus of about $2,200.
I saw that. I thought, good on the library, because
You
the
did.
kind of year that everybody had, I was glad to see that they had a little bit of a surplus. So.
There's a lot of spots there where revenue is way down.
Yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
Something I'd like to bring up, which isn't on one of the numbers, but Red River North Tourism, their AGM is on March 24th, and we will be having our meeting in Dover.
Say that again.
Their Red River North Tourism's AGM is
Okay.
going to be March 24th at 7 p.m.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody wants to. With our council meeting getting moved over, we'll probably still be sending out information.
And it's virtual, I'm taking it.
Yes, we'll be Zoom.
March 24th. At what time, Saturday?
7 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I don't believe that there was anything else that we were going to talk about. So I'm going to go to committee reports, and I'm going to start with Councillor Vazarowicz today. And you may have to speak up, I'm not sure if Councillor Horwitz just has his camera off or if he had to step away.
Okay, March 2nd, tourism marketing, Zoom. They had representation there from Selkirk, the lady that runs the Holiday Alley. They had a big thing on websites, building websites and advertising. I don't know if we can bring this up again, like if it's recorded. Brett might be interested in it. Like there was all kinds of things in there about how to present your website or how to prepare it and how to whatever, to make it easily accessible for everyone and you're not repeating things. She'd probably be more up on it than myself. And then March 2nd in the evening, we had a special meeting at the Narrow Fire Hall. March 3rd, we had, here we met with the AMM executive, again virtually. We discussed grant, solid waste, and drainage. March 4th, managing organic waste. Some of this was repetitive. Lots of the Netherlands again. What I found interesting there is they're using insect larvae now to break down things, and then they're actually using it as human consumption. My question on that is that friendly for vegetarians as well? I don't know. Not too many vegetarians in the room, Deepak? Then March 5th, we did the RRPD proposal from Selkirk. And that's it.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
On February 26th, I had a meeting with the CAO and the Public Works Supervisor, and we just had a good discussion about the concept of woody waste, as well as some on the waste management strategy, and also talking a little bit about composting, just to do some background information to help with some of what's on the agenda today. March the 2nd, we had a committee of the whole special meeting. the 3rd was the AMM visit. So the AMM updated us on their activities, and then our CAO updated them on the RM's activities that are going on. As Councillor Bazaraj stated, March 4th, WMR Organics meeting. And it's organics as it relates to the circular economy, and some of this is repetitive because MAR has done some of this work, but as he had stated, I found it interesting just to see what's going on in the Netherlands and how some of this has been put in place already. And then March the 5th was our 5 council meeting for the RRPD. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Sutherland.
Okay, nothing much either. March 2nd, our committee of the whole meeting, and also a special meeting to do with the Danco Drive subdivision. That was the meeting was at the fire hall. I attended with Zoom. Again, on March 3rd, the AMM meeting. And we had a couple of topics that were brought up about the ice that Branta, anything was happening there, and then it was about the province's solid waste and recycling review. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
March 2nd, I also attended the tourism conference, and I also do think it would be a benefit for Brett. One of the things, it was sponsored by Travel Manitoba, and one of the things that they're really big on is with COVID and people not going out, even though things are starting to open, they're finding that people are still not going out in public, and they're using your websites or one of your main sources so as to keep on updating it, keep it interesting, making it change all the time, so you're inviting people to come back to it. So yeah, I did find it also would be something beneficial for
It's well put together.
yeah. March 2nd, then we had our ACAO meeting, and then our subdivision hearing. March 3rd, AMM attended. That was good information and nice and casual that I've never been to, just so. And I was wondering, are they going to bring in a bunch of other municipalities? So I was actually very happy that they did just have us there as a group. But they seem like a fun type of group. They said they've taken a different approach, speaking with the province and meeting with them. So that was a great meeting. March 5th, I also attended the 5 council meeting, discussed RRP. March 8th, last night, had a meeting for Legacy Park. So this is exciting. One of the days that I came to the office here to get some information, I met up with Brenna and I said, hey, I have this little project that I still have sitting on the back burner and I would like to some help with it. Next day, I get a call from a board member from East Selkirk Rec, and she introduced herself to me and said that Blake gave her my name and let's take charge and go. So I was very excited, somebody else to help, because some days I feel like, oh, I have too much on my plate here already. And yeah, so we met with 2 other of the board members. There was 3 board members, Brenna and myself, we met. So we had a really good discussion, and I did lay it out to them that whatever is done, because hey, ideas are great, right? But I said, when it comes to paying with it, it all has to come in front of council, and I said, we do have to report to them. So a lot of them are brand new there, but they're very gung-ho, but you know, that's got the good and the bad. So I was very, very happy with the meeting that we had last night, so yeah. And that's it.
Good, thank you. Go ahead, Rob.
Same as everybody else, April 2nd, our special meeting in Merrill. And
April? Are you rushing it?
Oops. We've got to put these on. Here we go. So yeah. March 2nd and April 3rd, the AMM executive meeting here. I came to the chamber here. March 2nd, I thought it went well at Merrill overall.
I did too. I think that will probably speak to that a little bit. Oh, not on that one, that was the other one.
That's it for me.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if Councillor Horbus is there. I did send him a note to see if he was around to do his committee report. He didn't reply, so I'm going to do mine. So, February 23rd, we had our council meeting. February 24th, we had our RCMP meeting that Deepak and I were invited to. And as it turns out, I guess Mayor Hart was after the RCMP to have a meeting with all of us. So that's how that got started. They're trying to focus, what Sergeant Duff said is they're now trying to focus on offenders who continue to break the law. Like rather than try different things all the time, they're kind of trying to go after the people that are continually getting in
Reoffenders.
trouble. Yeah. He said there's been a lot of outdoor activity, so, you know, it's been somewhat quieter, but at the same time, it's kind of just as busy as what he said. He wanted to review what has been accomplished, so we went over that. I asked about the Grand Marais detachment for the summer, and he said there will be someone up there, at least one person, perhaps two, just depending. And I also did ask about, we talked about the open houses that we were supposed to have that were canceled. And he seemed kind of leaning towards that maybe we could do something virtually, but we would have to kind of wait and see. But I guess the more I think about it, if we want to do one in the Grand Marais area, if we wait till after May, I'm not sure why we couldn't have it outside at GMCC. You know, depending on how many people show up.
They're saying in May or after May, or shortly right at the end of the month, there's a possibility that a lot of Manitobans will be vaccinated.
So I think we'll just maybe play it by ear. Like, I would still like to have those meetings, and I just thought of Grand Marais because we could be outside on the grounds at GMCC, and there's a lot of space there to physically distance and have masks and all those sorts of things. So I put that bug in their ear. And I also brought up about the legal grow-ops in the municipality. I said it was, and they weren't all that aware of, you know, where the grow-ops are. And I said, well, it's very frustrating for us and our bylaw people that when we get a complaint, if we knew where they were and that they were legal, our bylaw could say, you know what, yes, we are aware of it, they have been licensed through Health Canada, blah, 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 rather than sending our bylaw people on this wild goose chase to see what they could find out. I said, we don't need to know exactly who has them, but I think that for bylaw, it would be very good to have that information.
Yeah.
So he was gonna see if he could find something out for us, because it's frustrating.
There's
And
lots
then,
of illegal ones too.
well, I know, but I mean, there's nothing, I mean, if we find an illegal one, we find an illegal one, but I mean, and then of course, I believe Deepak, you had mentioned about the one that, you know, they're pumping water to the street and it's running down the street and you can smell it when you're walking down the street. So how do you control that if it's a legal grow-up? So, and other than that, I had a RRPD, Jennifer and I met with legal counsel regarding, and that was kind of in camera, but I wanted you to know that we did talk to legal counsel about Selkirk and kind of the next steps and how to approach this whole issue of Selkirk wanting to withdraw. February the 26th, I had a WMR board meeting, and we talked about tomorrow's event and Bill 37 and the governance model that's required for that. Colleen also talked about engaging with the First Nations and MMF, because WMR did get a letter from MMF that they were not consulted on any of this goings on with WMR and Plan 2050. As it turns out, Colleen does have all the information, and all the time she did try and make contact or invited them to meetings and things like that, and
That's good.
there was no response. So You know, she has that, and I don't know where it's gonna go. It seems that, you know, it's no different than another project where at the last minute MMF says, hey, we weren't consulted. But in this particular instance, they were sent the information and chose not to participate at that point in time. They may come on board now, I really don't know.
Nice to go back and see that you did include them, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yeah, so that was good. The Travel Manitoba, I'm just gonna touch on a couple of things. I did get an email, I think it was yesterday, and I just forwarded it to Deepak. That webinar is available, so I forwarded it to Deepak and he can let Brett watch it. I got an email yesterday, I'm not sure if they're not sending them to everybody, but the webinar is available. And the other thing that I thought was very interesting, they said that when you look at your site, you need to look at the content and your budget. You also need to choose your channel, be it Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, or newsletters. Well, we do some of those already, so I thought it was, well, yes, we do newsletters and we do Facebook.
No, I say, but no Twitter.
No, no Twitter, no, because Twitter, you can't put a lot of information, it's usually just a sentence or two. So I'm not a tweeter either, but Deepak is, so. And I think that's all I have.
Just a question.
Go ahead.
You were saying there's not much we can do about those blow-offs when they have water. Well, we can't do anything municipally with their operation because it's federally licensed, but when you have a situation where there's water dumping in a municipal street or a roadway or whatever, then we could do something municipally.
Well,
Because it affects us municipally, but in
Right.
terms of their operation,
Yes.
we can't.
Well, I think Tyler was chasing that one down and I kind of lost track of that one because that was the one up in Grammar, so. And that is it for my report. So, Mr. Administrator, do you have one that you want to share with us?
Yes, Madam Mayor, as you know, we had the council meeting, and we prepared, and we had the discussions on it at the end of the council meeting. I did get contacted by the Selkirk Record about the public hearing that we had at the special meeting, and informed her and gave her some details. Most of the questions were related around what the applicant had applied for in the past, and she said that she's going to be writing a report about it. Beyond that, we had the discussion with the AMM. I just wanted to inform council that as part of that, I'm preparing some documentation and working with our consultant, utility consultant, Greg, to identify our projects, especially for our applications with the Manitoba Water Services Board, considering AMM are sitting on the board and are part of the evaluating, so that we can let them know how critical it is for us to expand our sewer and get water over to the south side of the community. Beyond that, there's been just some general meetings, and as it has been occurring lately, I've been providing my written reports at the end of the month to stay consistent. I'll submit you another one at the end of the month.
Thank you for that.
Question?
Go ahead, Rob.
What was the date you put out for meeting in the chamber here for going over the budget or starting the budget process?
That's a good question. What I'd like to do is see if we can meet next Tuesday or the Tuesday after, depending on how things are going. The Tuesday after is the 23rd. I understand that we'll be busy in the evening, but I thought we could have afternoon meetings to begin having some discussions.
So you're thinking,
Tax sale.
Tax sale is at noon on the 23rd, so
so you
that would work. So what we'd
16th.
like to do is, if we can, do one for the 16th.
Call that budget?
Yes, it'll be a budget committee of the whole.
9:30,
Yes, Madam Mayor.
thank you.
What's that date?
The 16th,
16th?
5:30
9:30.
till 5:30?
Probably not. I'm kidding, I'm
Don't jinx
kidding.
And just another question on that, how are you feeling on the budget preparation? Is it going to be like 4 4 or 5 meetings, like in the past, or are we gonna get it done like in, like, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are we're probably going to be similar to like we were in the past.
Okay,
We'll enhance it as we go. The advantage is we will be looking at it as a 3-year budget. So next year, it should go much more smoother because you'll have already discussed some of those items. And the hope is that that prepares council for the election year as well as the new council coming in. When they're coming in, there's some preliminary work done for them. So there are some, sorry Madam Mayor,
That's
there are
okay, go ahead.
there are some policy items that I'd like to discuss this coming Tuesdays that we can address as we start working through the budget.
Okay, anything else from DPAC or members of council? Colleen, I'm going to turn it over to you to see if you have anything you'd like to share with us today.
Nothing new that DPAC hasn't already reported on. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anybody else? Okay, so with that, I think we have to move in camera now. I can't see that part of my agenda here. Yes, so if I could have a resolution to move in camera.
Resolved, council recess the regular meeting and go into in-camera to discuss the legal and personnel issues. And further be it resolved that all matters discussed are to remain confidential as per section 83(1)(d) of the Municipal Act.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Bazarolo seconds. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
Stop the recording.
Here, Rob. I will get that. Sorry. Thank you.
Recording has been paused on my end. Colleen's still pausing hers.